The United States has urged India to distance itself from Russia. Global pressure to condemn Moscow's invasion is mounting, but New Delhi has been reluctant to do so. Mr. Crabtree, of course, the problem is that India, if it wants to balance, contain China, it needs not just Russian arms, it also needs Washington's support.
A lot of the noises I've been hearing, both in the United States and here in Europe, is on a similar train that you have a problem with China on the border. It's been going on for decades now. It is getting worse. What position does that leave you in when it comes to seeking support if further incursions are done, further skirmishes happen at the border or within the border to kind of echo what's happening in Ukraine in terms of sovereignty issues that are being raised?
Sorry, do you mind if I interrupt you?
No, please do. But I want to come back to a question, the crux of the question, which I asked a few people in the political circles, in the financial circles. What's your big question? And one of the foremost geopolitical strategists on Wall Street sent me this question for you. Mm-hmm. And the question is simple. If and when the choice comes down to it, not today, not tomorrow, but in the future, and she strongly believes it will, for India, will it become, in terms of support, the US or China? And that will be kind of a defining moment that comes out of the situation that we face with Russia right now.
Look, number one, why I wanted to interrupt you in a way. I mean, I'm partly reacting to the previous observation. Somewhere Europe has to grow out of the mindset that Europe's problems are the world's problems. But the world's problems are not Europe's problems. That if it is you, it's yours. If it is me, it's ours. I think that's something, and I see, reflections of that. Again, in terms of, there is a linkage today which is being made. A linkage between China and India and what's happening in Ukraine. So come on, guys. I mean, China and India happened way before anything happened in Ukraine. So the Chinese don't need a precedent somewhere else in the world on how to, engage us or not engage us or be difficult with us or not be difficult with us. So as I said, I just see this as frankly a not very clever argument, a very self-serving one. This idea that, your grand strategy must be about how you will choose. I will do what, as all of us do. I will weigh the situation, everybody, after all, how do countries eventually make decisions?
Mr. Jaishankar, there will always be two axes at this point. I think it's an understood, accepted fact that you have the West, US-led, you have China as the next potential axis. Where does India fit into this? Are you planning to not pick a side?
No, I'm sorry. That is exactly where I disagree with you. This is the construct you are trying to impose on me, and I don't accept it. I don't think it's necessary for me to join this axis or not, and if I'm not joining this, I must be with the other one. I don't accept that. I think I'm 1/5 of the world's population. I am today the 5th or 6th largest economy in the world. Forget the history, civilization bit, everybody knows that. But I think I'm entitled to have my own side, I'm entitled to weigh my own interests, make my own choices.
Let's talk about the war in Ukraine. As you are well aware, the whole world noticed that India, as a very influential country, has never publicly condemned Russia's assault and invasion into a neighboring country. Why is that so? Can you really be neutral in a war for which obviously one side bears all responsibility?
Well, look, I think in international relations, you have sometimes very complicated situations. And where we are concerned, we have always taken the position that the way out is for the countries concerned to get back to dialogue and to diplomacy.
I'll come to that soon, but is this a complicated situation? Is this really complicated? There's just one big country invading its neighbor.
No, look, I can give you many instances of countries who have violated the sovereignty of another country. If I were to ask where Europe stood on a lot of those, I'm afraid I'll get a long silence.
तू मुझे गलत मत बोल, तू खुद को गलत बोल, तू खुद की औकात देख, तू अपनी गर्बान में झांक के देख, तू खुद की औकात देख, तू ये देख कि तू खुद क्या है.
I mean, it's interesting that you people from the United States, when you have so much muck behind your back, from the wiping out of the entire race of Native Americans, and you Europeans having wiped out almost more than half of world's population across from Australia in Africa to America, now just like, putting your neck deep into other people's history and also not being scientific about it, actually. For example, you said you estimated 15 temples or a dozen or something like that. Have you done a scientific survey, archaeological survey of every site possible which has already been dug out or not? And this is, can a descendant of a genocidal people sit as a judge? Is that moral or fact? Yes, that nation stands on the dead bodies of Native Americans. What right does she have to come here and poke her nose into our history? No, what? Be fair, be fair, be fair, be fair. Have just, is this justice? Is this morality? Is this ethics? In today's density population count, it is 21 billion people that's been wiped out of the earth by your country.
What right do I have
मुझे
to
अपने घर
comment
जाना
on
है
Indian history?
मुझे घर
I am
जाना
not
है
a historian.
मुझे अपने घर जाना
Many
है
people do not handle a woman talking and feel the need to scream over it. And so, folks, does this mean that I am always?
कहाँ से फांस लाता है नई नई रंडियों को लौंडा का नाती भाग यहाँ से भूसड़ी की